everybody. This is Turning Everything to Gold with Zenzi and Luna. We are in the chakra series right now, discussing really how the chakra works and how when it's out of balance or running slow or running too fast, or just a different way that the chakra can be not operating at its full capacity, can really create some issues. And we talked in our previous series, even though it was a root one, we talked a little bit about some lessons on the sacral, which is the next one we're discussing, and how a friend of Luna's, was able to, after a year of trying to get pregnant, and then went to an energy practitioner and had energy clearing within 2 weeks, was pregnant, which is absolutely amazing. And we're going to talk about that chakra. It's connected with the beautiful orange color. This is the creative womb. Creativity, inspiration, passion resides here. I like to say the spiritual gifts flow from this space. And one example of it being out of balance is what you were saying, because this is about the creative womb. I call it that really for men and women, because it's what you're going to be birthing in your life or creating in your life. And one way that it's out of balance is when this energy comes in, you feel creatively blocked. You're not standing maybe in your power and your gifts, whatever the gifts are. Everybody has gifts. Everybody has something special and unique about them. Some people, it's very apparent. They get up and they stand on stage and they sing, and they're absolutely amazing. And painters, and you can practice. Some people just have these special skills, and then some are the way that you speak to people and the way that you care for people, caregivers, and everybody has these spiritual gifts. But this can be blocked from trauma, heavy workloads. Always, that's how blockages can happen. But I had an experience with the Sacral Chakra. We're going to talk about the stones here in a little bit, but I could not stand it. No, it was out of balance. Felt fine, no problems at that point in time. And I was very creative, very passionate, but I was in a relationship and it lacked the intimacy that I felt like you needed in a relationship. And it was, everything else was wonderful, but it lacked that component, which is a very important component in a relationship. And I didn't put two and two together. Wasn't studying, wasn't an energy practitioner at the time. All of this, I don't even think I was doing. I maybe just had started meditation and yoga teacher training, but I could not stand the color orange. I couldn't stand it. I didn't like it on walls. I didn't like it on clothes. When I saw stones, I would avoid the orange section in any way. I was so turned off by that color. And then I had somebody say, if you put moonstone together with some carnelian is a stone, orange stone for the sacral. She said, this will help with being able to conceive. And I was like, I am definitely not going that direction. I'm like, I want to create, but not a life. Yes, I am not interested in that either. Yes. And so once I started on this journey of personal healing and learning about the energy clearing and focusing on different meditations and starting to really do a deep dive into why I do the things that I do in my own personal healing and trauma, which is where I think a lot of this journey begins, on healing this. That's when I realized, I'm lacking this in my life. And so it was a turn off. It was a block. It was a big block in my experience. So when I started doing my own personal work, everything shifted. It wasn't instant. Like, I feel like, and we talked about this when we worked together, my journey it took me a lot longer to get on the path to do this. I would do the energy training, and I would do all these things personal and do a deep dive into my own healing, and then I would sit with it for a year or two. I wouldn't do anything. You were so determined, and everything moves so fast for your healing and the transformational journey you've been on. But mine was no, I still didn't like orange. I didn't like the stone. I wasn't happy with it. And I wasn't sad or, I was still doing what I loved. But what I did notice during that time was I wasn't fully filled in my spirit either. So I was working in banking at the time, and I was school for business. I had been in banking for 10 years, and I was filled financially. I was filled, all of this felt really, fantastic in my life, but I was missing the spiritual component. I think if I had maybe had that, then I wouldn't have been so off in that capacity.
Yes.
But as I started to do my own personal healing and realized it took a long time, but then finally I'm like, I'm okay with orange now.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Still won't put those two together though. I will not wear moonstone and orange ever.
Because what I've learned,
tell me,
if you have the parts, you can have the baby. It doesn't matter how old you are. If it's all in there working,
no.
And I'm like, no.
I think moms are the most amazing. It's superheroes, and that's always been a scary thing for me.
I
So
can
I'm
100% understand that. 100. And I'm sure a lot of women can too. Because as you know, I say this all the time. No disrespect to children, but I never thought I would be a mother. Like, that wasn't growing up. That wasn't something I thought, one day I'm gonna have children and it's gonna be so beautiful. And I didn't like the pregnancy part of it. It wasn't for me. But I am so grateful. Hi guys, I'm so grateful you're here. You've taught me so much, and I love you so much. But and I was actually told, you will not have children.
Oh, wow.
And then 6 months later, I got pregnant. So that's another, I'm sure we'll get into this later, but in the podcast, that's how I know my husband is like my creative partner in life.
Wow.
Because we kept creating life together. I have 2 children. We won't even go there. But he is my soulmate creative partner in life because, so I do know that.
You're such a great match.
And I grew up, our colors for my town were orange and brown, which is awful. Okay. But orange has never been, and it's never been fine. Also, water is associated with the sacral chakra, the flow, and I love water. I love streams. I love water features. I love the ocean. I love the sound that water makes. I don't like to drink it though, which is very weird. I have to force myself to drink it. I don't know what that's all about, but so that's the sacral for me.
That's interesting. So much, and when you start going on this journey, some people feel like they're blocked, or how do I use this? I had somebody who was, when they came in for the intuitive energy session and they sat down, they had extreme anxiety, and they were very stressed, and I could see it, I could feel it, and but I could also see on the other side of it, this person is amazingly magical, and you got some superpowers in there. They just haven't been turned on yet.
Yes.
And this was all in the sacral. And he was like, I don't know what you mean. And I said, I feel like you're the black sheep of the family. And he was just looked at me and he's like, yeah. And I said, and what do you like to do? Let's ask, because he goes, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, what makes you happy? What makes you happy? That's what you need to do. That's where this whole thing started with me. Well, one was I kept getting dizzy, and I was holding my breath and didn't realize, I'm under stress. I'm holding my breath, and I can't even walk up the stairs without getting dizzy because I was not breathing properly.
Right.
That was part of it. But the other was nature, which is the vibration of the heart, was calling me to be outside, and my peace and my connection and my grounding and really alignment with everything was
Mother
being
nature.
Heavenly.
Mother.
It was hiking. Yes, hiking and just being. It was a meditation. It was a connection with spirit. It was feeling grounded. That was probably my root chakra and sacral connection. It was just, and I was all of it. I just felt so aligned. I could feel called. And when I was there was such peace. And people say, well, I don't know if I can do meditation. And I said, well, my meditation is also hiking.
Meditation can be
anything that works. Moving is fantastic for the active mind, but following that heart and that enjoyment of just being out, and the sounds of nature was so amazing. But and I asked him, I said, well, what makes you happy? And he goes, I like building with my children. And I was like, I said, sometimes our passion and our gifts doesn't look like everybody else's. And I said, you know, and we started talking, and he started getting so excited. And I felt his energy completely shift to joy and creativity. And he started doing mudras, which are hand positions, and that create power and different energies in the body. And I was looking at him, but I could see he was doing. And I said, what are you doing? What are you doing with your hands? Do you know that you're doing a sacred symbol with your hands right now? And he just looked, and he was like, no. And I said, your spirit knows. Don't look. Your spirit knows. You are already in tune. You're processing the energy that I'm telling you. Just have, sometimes too, when people have stress and anxiety, they're empathic, and they're picking up on so much of everything external. Correct. And so it's constantly moving and overload and survival, and so just opening up this area with awareness before we even did the energy session, and just talking about his creative gifts. He was trying to get a job, and he was having a hard time getting a job. There was a lot of fear with getting a job, and he'd been trying and all these different things. And it was a couple weeks later after the session, he got a job, completely changed. But he opened up, just being able to support someone in their spiritual,
and turn on that light of awareness.
Yes.
Where they were like, oh, I never even considered that could be what's stopping me. Like, I think a lot of people think, oh, I know I'm stopping myself from, you know, especially creatively, because I love to write. I love to tell a story. You'll see that. Trust. I'm going to start working on my Cliff's Notes versions of my story. But of all my stories, I talk so much. That's why this is perfect for me. But yeah, like, you don't even know, like, you're like, yeah, I'm self-sabotaging because I'm not doing it, but why am I not doing it? You don't have that awareness. And when you finally do get that awareness, and you're like, oh, okay, well, for example, for me, when I was growing up, creativity was not something that was celebrated or appreciated in my house. Art wasn't, singing, any type of creativity. So, and it was, you know, you're not an artist. You're definitely not an artist. You know, as a little kid, you make a picture, and one parent would be super, super like, oh my God, this is amazing. And another parent would be like, oh, well, you're definitely not an artist. And you don't take what the parent that supported you said, the only thing, you know, you'll hear 99 things that are wrong and that one thing that's right, and you'll only remember the 99 things. And again, with the sacral, if it's your mother, it can be extremely, extremely hard to overcome. And you don't know it, because none of this was ever taught to me. But once I learned it, everything just started making sense. And everything, okay, my root is off because of this. And my sacral is off because of this. And the solar, and it just makes everything just falls. And you're just like, wow. Like,
it allows you to be passionate in your life. When you start to clear that, then in whatever your endeavors are, it doesn't have to be, you know, I don't know, it doesn't have to be. Yeah,
it doesn't have to be anything great. You don't have to win the Nobel Peace Prize for your writing. You don't have to publish a book. But, you know, I can say from the last 6 months, I would say 8 months, you know, I had gotten into writing, and I'd started a blog, and my mother was not supportive of it at all. And still is not supportive of it. And for the last couple months, it's been a huge block for me. I know it's the sacral that's blocked. I sat every day with it, not really willing to clear it, because I thought, I've got too much stuff going on. I don't have time to clear that.
I can feel your throat when you're saying that. I can feel your throat right now starting to right side.
Yes.
So it's like this power. This is connected to your power.
Which I think right side, masculine, right?
Yeah. Power, strength.
Yes. So, but last week I was able, this week, after our conversation on Monday, I had been able to write on a topic, and I think personally that it was like the most amazing piece of writing that I've ever, you know, done before. But, you know, for me, I don't need the validation from the outside anymore. Like, I don't care if you support me, if you say I'm lying, if you say it's not true, it doesn't matter. This is my experience. I'll use my voice, my throat, to bring forth that creativity from the sacral. And when it's blocked, and and I think with all the chakras, they're always a work in progress, and you always have to.
It's constant, because when you're doing the healing, it's going to always be in layers.
It's layers.
And so you could work on the same thing for years, but it's layers of life experience, and so there's no time frame on it.
I think people want to put a time frame on it. Do you agree or disagree? Like, they come to you and they're like, I have this problem. Or, I mean, I have people in my life that come to me and they're like, okay, you've accurately told me what the problem is. Fix it. Okay, we can work on that. And then they'll come back, well, it's back. Well, yeah.
There's work that has to be
There's
done.
more underneath. We cleared this top layer, but like, you've got 100 layers underneath.
Yes.
And it's a constant practice, and that's why, the true alignment and enlightenment, I mean, not many people get there. No, but I mean, if you're going to an energy practitioner thinking that one session is going to clear the blockages, you're going to feel great. Trust me, you're going to feel great after the first session. But a couple weeks later, you're going to be, it might start to come
balance,
back. And you've got to go back. 100%. You've got to make that
or start your own practice as well to keep that
and
going.
Learn.
It's important.
And that's what this is about, is teaching
start
people.
Opening up the wounds to clear out, which is difficult for people because you have to revisit the pain and the discomfort, but that's how it clears.
Yes.
But not using if you don't use your, I like to call them your creative gifts or your spiritual gifts, I feel like that can create
anger,
depression. It can oppress, like you'll go inward. You were meant to use these, and that for him, I was like, listen, that can be like building an amazing fort, and you could bring kids from all over to let them. I said, it doesn't have to look like somebody else's creative gifts. I said, but if you are passionate in this place and you work well with, you can take what you love and you work well with kids, you can take this and make it something that is going to be amazing, that you love, and you're using your gifts. I feel, for part of the work that I do, it is imperative that people step into this to be fully filled, and otherwise they start, it's almost like, I want to say atrophying, like energetically, and they'll get they can get bitter.
Muscle weakens.
Correct.
Totally weakens until it doesn't really even work anymore. And then to build it back up, like if you were in a coma for 10 years, you wouldn't get out of bed and walk the day after you woke up. It would take you months and months, maybe even years, to get back to the strength that you were at when you were fully alive and physically healthy.
And it can be anything.
Same with healing.
Yes, absolutely. It's so important. I really feel like, and people just need to tap into what that is. And there's such a big variety, but I would say also giving back to others in some capacity is, because everything's a circle of an exchange, so giving back in some form will bring this amazing energy back to you, that magnet connection of sending it out and bringing it back. But super important to, and then write it down. So I don't know if I'm good at anything. Well, absolutely 100% you are. Let's get in there and figure out what it is, because
what do you love? Let's look at what you love, and then let's look at, and what I think people need to understand is with creative gifts, and I said this to you when we spoke earlier in the week, your purpose in life doesn't have to be your paycheck. You don't have to monetize and turn everything into a business.
Absolutely.
It can just be something that gives you peace and makes you feel happy and whole. If writing and nobody ever reads it, journaling makes you happy and whole, journal. Like, it doesn't have to be, you can take that time and spend that time on yourself, and it's totally fine. I think that is the mindset of most people today is, okay, well, I'm creative, I like to write, I gotta write a book, and it's gotta be a New York Times bestseller, and I've gotta, or I've gotta write songs, and everyone's gonna wanna record my songs, and I'm gonna make $1 million. No, just write a song, just write a poem.
And some of them maybe one day, but do it because you have the passion, and you're led to do it for the joy and expression of sharing that magic, letting it out of the physical body. I think it's I just think it's an important part of the journey for everyone to connect with that. And
I agree.
mine, you know, when I was wanting to go hike for years, I would go out and hike and find different trails and go out on my own and travel to places. And when I started developing through and healing and going to the shadow work side and healing the trauma and the pain and all the things that had happened in life and growing up, decisions, you know, that were made. When I started falling into the magic, I call the magic, which is the synchronicity of things happening, and then doors opened, and then I started following my heart and follow the joy, and I keep following the joy as far as it'll go, and then go the next direction and follow where the happiness is. Amazing things started to happen, and then I started finding this magic all over the place. And I was like, my goal now is to take people on these sacred journeys of self-discovery, getting back to the earth and grounding and going back and let's hike. And even if they're not, you know, that's not their favorite thing, it's about being out on the land and reconnecting, putting down the phone, getting off the computer, stop watching TV, like get yourself out there so you can really invest your heart and energy into the now moment in that space.
Yes, all of that stuff is going to be there when you get back.
Yes.
Those TikToks, they're going to be there when you get back.
Yes.
You know, Netflix, it ain't going anywhere.
It's so filling on a different side, but I never thought that I would it wasn't a plan. I'm not going to go do this healing work and I'm going to go do that. It was never even a thought.
Yeah.
It was just, I'm going to follow my heart where it brings me joy, and then I want to share that joy with others.
Yes.
And I think...
And then that creates joy for other people.
Yes.
And then they go
filling.
and they share the joy. Yeah. And then it's just like, oh,
and they tell their friends, and they tell their friends.
And everyone's happy. I mean, I've experienced that recently, like just at work when we have a mutual friend, and when we're together at work, and we're actually together, and we're, you know, just creating a space where just be who you are, but not negative. You can be anything you want to be. You can say anything you want. Just don't be negative. And it's like, you know, let's start working on our numerology, and let's look this up, and let's get into it. Let's get weird. Let's get into like all this crazy stuff. And like, you know, I can tell you're not happy here. What would make you happy? What do you like to do? Oh, I like to do this. Well, how can you do this on a different level? Well, I can't support my family on, again, your purpose, your creative gifts don't have to equal a paycheck. It can just be for you to give you that peace and joy. So
I've worked with many people who are trying to fit those together, and sometimes it does work, and you can fit it together. But it's always like the triangle for me, so the 3 points, the body, mind, and spirit, and really being able to fill the cup of each for whole wellness.
Yes.
And sometimes they don't fit together. Sometimes you need to do this job to function in the world that we're in, to be able to live, so you can go do this other work, and you can kind of maybe one day braid them together, or maybe keep them separate, but you still need to follow your passion and
100.
follow the joy.
Yes.
Absolutely. This helps that sacral energy to strengthen, and working with the color orange. I want to say too, wearing the colors. If you ever go to your closet and you're in your closet,
eating the colors.
Yes. It makes such a difference when you go in, you look at your closet, and you're like, oh, I feel like I want to wear this today. And then you learn about the energy points, you learn about the chakras, then you learn what they mean. And then it's, okay, wow, this is really tuning in to how I'm feeling today. Maybe I'm feeling very vibrant, very creative today, and you lean towards wearing something more orange, or it's just amazing because it enhances that particular energy point that you're working on.
That's how I picked out my outfit today.
I know, I love it.
It has all the chakras.
So since this is also a podcast, what are we wearing here?
Okay, so I have on mine. It's more purple than indigo, but indigo is, and we'll get into this, the third eye. But then this is like, let me see if you can see it. It's a multi-colored. I love this. Is like my favorite skirt. It's got red, it's got pinks, it's
beautiful
got
floral.
2 different blues, so throat and third eye. I've got my purple for my crown. I've got some orangey yellow. I haven't really delineated the sacral and the, what's it called, but they're both represented here. So
you have all the colors.
I was gonna wear white because white is very like pure and you know that energy, but I was like, no, I want to wear colors for a long time I wore blacks and navies and grays, and it's like now it's just like my whole closet is just
shifted.
color.
There's
one black
difference.
sweater.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're feeling, there's so many times I have clients come in, and I'll just kind of intuitively tap in before they come, and I'll set the colors and the intention. And then they come in and they're wearing that exact color. And then when we start to work over them, I'm like, okay, all of your energy is focused to the throat right now. That's why you're engaged. And they may not know, but then I'm like, you see what you're wearing?
Yes.
Do you see what you're writing with? I mean, everything you're pulling in is to help balance, even though your mind might not know, your spirit is on point to know, I need this right now.
Right.
This blue color, this shirt, whatever it is. But that happens so many times. Same thing with stones. When people go in, they don't know what the stones are, and you're just like, pick what jumps out to you.
I love when you do that, and your lapis always speaks to me.
I'll take the lapis.
I can't even, you have to let me go last from now on when we pick stones, because
you know what everything is,
I'm hogging the lapis. Yeah, but I want somebody else to, if Paige wanted the lapis last night, she needed the lapis. I'm sorry. If somebody else wanted the lapis last night, nobody ever gets the opportunity to have the lapis if it's there and available and it's my turn. Okay, it's not gonna happen.
So we have class. I offer classes. I do a lot of travel, and I come to Florida for classes once a month, private meditations and energy classes and such. And so I typically work intuitively with stones. Sometimes I'll place them in certain places. Sometimes it's cards and different things like this, and sometimes I'll let the people choose. A lot of people don't know exactly what everything is. Luna does. She knows whatever all the stones are, but I'll let them pick, because it really shares a lot for me, kind of what they're working on, what they're in tune with. And then sometimes we'll read them, and it really, if they don't know what it is and it aligns, it is again that magical synchronicity of your spirit knows exactly what you need right now. So that's why trusting and listening to that intuitive kind of unction is so important.
Yeah.
So, so what stones for that would help
orange
to
stones.
Enhance?
Orange stones are great, like you said.
About 2 inches above or below the belly button.
Below the belly button.
Below the belly button, the creative womb.
Creative, like where your womb would be.
Yeah.
So carnelian, which
beautiful.
That was one of my first.
Now it's
bracelets. Yeah. That was one of my first. After I did my first chakra alignment, we kind of poked around, and because there was crystals in the store, and it said what all of them were, and I was really drawn to the carnelian bracelet, and that was one of my first pieces. I still have it. I love it.
Were you married at the time? This was recent. This was pretty recent, correct?
Was 3 years ago now. So
I'm just kind of putting the energy together of that you guys are such a dynamic connection. So you were balanced in that space. You love the creative.
Yes, and the carnelian is like the stone of creativity. And it stabilizes, and stabilizes and strengthens it, the sacral. And then it's also the stone of fertility. So if you're trying to get pregnant,
really good stone to have.
It's a good stone to have.
And couple that, if you're really working on that, couple that with moonstone. It doesn't have to be rainbow moonstone. That has inclusion, so it's gorgeous. But any type of moonstone, couple that, and it'll enhance that energy. Now, imagine also wearing that on the body, like in a belt or things like this somewhere. Very, very powerful around that space.
And then orange calcite, which I'm not a huge fan of. I have a bunch of it, but it doesn't speak to me. It just doesn't speak to me.
It doesn't really speak to me.
It doesn't speak to me. No.
I have orchid calcite. That is a raw. It's a raw stone, and
I think I have an orchid.
It's a beautiful orange, and I like the raw, and it's very reflective and reflects the light. But regular orange calcite, not my favorite.
But it's good for keeping the sacral energized. It's sunny and happy. I can tell you that it pops. And works on anything that's dragging you down. So that's a good one to have if you're feeling like dragged down. Sunstone, I have a sunstone, like palm stone. I used to love it too. I haven't used it in probably over a year. So
it reminds me of Sedona.
And I think I'm more of a moon girl. So maybe that's why the sunstone spoke to me when I got it. I was like, it was one of the first ones that I got. Besides the lapis heart was the sunstone, and that's life-giving energy. It's a leadership stone, empowering. And then peach moonstone is good.
Pretty.
Yeah,
I love
my
moonstone.
peach. Yeah,
It's a really great goddess stone too.
Yeah.
The moonstone, and it's really working with that feminine, that divine feminine energy. So love the moonstone.
so really anything, and even you can get into the yellows. I like to save the yellows for more solar plexus, but like things like pyrite, and we'll talk about that. Tiger's eye. What else? Amber. Amber's really good for all the lower chakras.
I love it.
And it's good for the throat, which I think we realized that last week.
Yeah, that's right. During the class.
Yeah, during class when we looked it up.
Because it came in and it was exactly. Oh,
and I had
one,
it.
which is wild.
I grabbed it, which was wild.
This was an online Zoom class, and she had during the session we do it a little bit of an intuitive. We do a guided meditation, an intuitive session for each person, and she had Amber come in.
Yeah.
And you had. I just think. You had a big piece,
of it.
I was like, wow.
I think I got it in Sedona too.
Okay.
I know I got it in Sedona.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I love all my Sedonas.
I know.
I love them. But
I love stones in general.
So where was I going with that? Oh yeah. So really there's a crossover between the solar plexus and some of the sacral stones. Tiger's eye is one of my favorites definitely for the solar plexus, but it also helps with the sacral. So I love stones. And then I do frequency music 432, which I just found out last week that all music before the 1940s was recorded in that 432 frequency. And it's now recorded in the 440 frequency because this is a little dark. The Nazi Party recorded that frequency because it was easier for people to listen to, and they paid more attention, and they can manipulate the sound better.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And now most things in music are recorded in that frequency, but 432 is like the most pure, like creativity frequency. So I love that frequency music.
You just look up frequency music connected to Sacral Chakra.
Yeah,
or
Sacral
Root
Chakra,
whatever you're looking for.
Sacral Chakra frequency, Root Chakra frequency, and even the number will pop up.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a range.
And I think whatever resonates with you. If you listen to the music and you're just like, it does not connect, then listen to your heart,
And
listen to your spirit, pass on, go to the next one.
Yeah.
Pass to the next. So yeah, I think listening and really using the intuition and even with stones, you might read something and this creates the creativity, but I really want to lean towards this stone. Listen to what you're being called to do. That's a big part of working with the intuition, the energy of the body, and helping to balance.
Well, yes, absolutely. I agree.
This was awesome.
This is amazing. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.